You are live on the Truman Show with the great Frank Shields. How are you, Frank?
Positive, feeling good. Happy to be here once again.
Positive vibes always. Yeah,
Yes.
on the Truman Show with
Every time.
great talk, great eating process. Woo! Can be better than that. So, beautiful day today. They're all beautiful, even if it rain or a storm.
Yeah,
The sun always shine. Yeah,
that's it.
so we should always shine. The absolutely rarest thing. I think that's what we're gonna start with.
Yeah.
As usual, you do the English, I'll read the French, and then we will reason on what we just read. And sometimes it can spark new things into us too. Like
Mhm.
every time you reflect or you reason on something, you might not have the same reasoning as you had before. You know, that's what
Yeah.
evolution is. I think it's you
Yes.
evolve. So
Right.
yeah. So Frank, boom, it's on you.
Let's go.
Shut my mouth.
The absolutely rarest thing. Having surveyed this world and its inhabitants, LotusOcean has found that the rarest thing here is not gold or diamonds or uranium. The rarest thing, insert drum rolls and all, is insert loud guitars and all, learning attitude.
Yeah. La chose la plus rare. Ayant sondé ce monde et ses habitants, LotusOcean a trouvé que la chose la plus rare n'est pas l'or ou les diamants ou l'uranium. La chose la plus rare est ajouter des roulements de tambour, drumroll, est ajouter des sons puissants de guitare, une attitude d'apprentissage. Wow. This is probably one of the biggest illusion that we're under is that we think we know something worth knowing when we don't know a single freaking thing worth knowing. It's just a world made of illusion inside us and not really outside, because if I look outside, I don't have an illusion. I have a tree and nature. But the illusion that we have, the perspective and the perception we have of this world in our default state, makes us to be very, very reluctant to learning. We don't think we need to learn because we've learned in school also. Like that's how they dumbify us by putting us through a schooling system that we are under the impression that we're learning something valuable, like Christopher Columbus' story. That's gotta be true. That's gotta be true, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
It's learned. We learned it in school, but the whole thing is built so they gonna build you an illusion of the world they want you to see, and then you become like a drone robot. It's crazy once you tell yourself, oh, that's enough of that droning state, and you start to want to learn things like facts and stuff that are, and but the truth is what it is. Like, is there even such thing as reality and fiction? There is life. Like there is life. Like even the reality, I would have to define it to you. What's reality? What's the fiction? Like all this, does it really exist?
Right.
Or life exists itself? You know, I make a very big difference in between this and the absolute rarest thing for the habitant of this earth is the learning attitude. It sucks. Okay, I'm gonna say it as it is. It friggin' sucks.
Yeah.
And they don't think they have to learn anything which is anti-life. It's friggin' death. It's anti-life.
Yeah.
It's evil. It's everything that is bad is on that side of your non-learning attitude, if I can say. I don't know if you say that in English, but sometimes I make up my own words too. So Frank, tell me about the rarest thing in the world.
Yeah, the rarest thing. It's it's so true what P's talking about here. And we find that, whenever you start kind of getting to that point where you're realizing, wait, is the certain things in life don't add up. I was taught this, but this is how people are, or this is what I can observe myself, or there certain things start to reveal themselves in your life once you start to kind of question. And of course, there's a lot of taboo areas that we're taught to just, oh yeah, just brush that under the rug. Don't question that. Don't ask about that. We've already been taught that, and we may have been given an explanation that either doesn't make sense or doesn't seem to fit with our own experience or something like that. Now, there's a lot of different things that we can experience that we would, be led to question, whether it's the shape of the place that we live upon, whether it's, are we going to question the kind of food that we're going to eat? Are we going to question the motivation that we'll have to, stack paper in a pocket, or like add numbers to a screen that is something called your bank account? I mean, all of these things sometimes is like, why am I doing this? What is this? What is life even about? Like, why? But a lot of people, we just get programmed to live a certain way, and it's hard for people to, because they've done so much work. They've said, oh, well, I've done all the research and all the studies to pass this exam, and I did a lot of work to memorize certain what I was taught as facts or things about how this world is. And so, people feel, what's the word? Just, they've put so much effort into living this life that they've been taught. And the thing is, to be able to actually step into something new, and to be able to step into what is the truth, sometimes or every time, you have to really approach with this learning attitude, like what P is talking about here. And that begins with an I don't know attitude. And you can't approach something new with a I already know this kind of perspective or approach. You're going to go ahead and sabotage your ability to hear some facts and hear some reality at all, by
I,
doing that.
I say all the time, the only thing you can be certain of and that you can say that is that you are here, alive, and you're breathing. Okay? All the rest, be flexible, because
Uh-huh.
it's subject to change
Yes.
eventually. Your beliefs, everything is man-made. So
Yes.
if you light up the light bulb in there, you're going to realize that it's all freaking nonsense. And
Yes.
then you will make a shift, make a change towards a more present life. Like you're
Mhm.
not there, you're freaking walking dead.
Yeah.
Like, don't you want to be present with life and do something?
Right.
What is life for? Life is to live.
Yes.
Evil is the opposite of live for a reason.
Hmm. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. We want
Done.
to go on the spiral that's going up and not go on the spiral that's going down.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And this, and to be able to start that journey upwards, we have to just take a moment and, open ourselves up to nature, to divine, and say, divine, God, whatever it is, I don't know. I need help. I need, like, however my life is, there might be some positive things, and there's obviously going to be challenges for every single person. Um, and to actually, we have to get to that point of being authentic and sincere and really, wanting to change ourselves for the better. And it's not forced. And that's where the free will comes in, where no one will ever be forced to change. But the consequences that come from our actions, the pressure will continue to increase. And it will, at some point, you will make that decision on your own. I don't want this pain anymore. I don't want this torture anymore. I don't want this boredom, or whatever adjective you want to add in there.
I like what you said, the boredom, because so many out there lives in boredom.
Yes, exactly.
They are freaking bored and distracted.
Right.
And they do not see it. That's the fucked up shit.
And they think that all these different little things is going to quell the boredom. Oh, if I travel here, well, I'll go stay at the beach for some time. And maybe you're there for a couple days. It's nice. And then that boredom starts to sink in again. Oh, here I am. That sinking feeling, that thing is coming in once again. But like, so Peace saying this learning attitude is very important, is crucial. It's crux,
Honesty also. Honesty. We can't forget honesty with learning attitude.
Right.
You can't be dishonest and say you know it all and you don't need to learn. So you got to be honest with yourself. Face the fact. You don't know freaking nothing. You've been filled up with garbage all your life. So take the garbage out, man. Put some good vibes in.
Right. Yeah, because that being honest and like facing reality, and then actually just, I mean, a lot of people, this whole thing of not embodying a real learning attitude is because often, it's that pride within, that says like, it doesn't want to admit like, oh, I might have messed up. I might be wrong. Maybe I don't know actually, and there's a lot within us, is that ego, that false sense of knowing that's trying to protect and just, present an image that, it might not be real. You might not actually know. So that's the place where we got to start. And like P says, learning attitude is one of the, that's kind of one of the qualities or the aspects from the Vedic thing that the Ganesh principle embodies. So like auspiciousness, wisdom, devotion to the mother principle, and this willingness to say, I don't know, and I want to learn, this childlike attitude, where like, look at the world through the eyes of a child, and look in that way with innocence and with curiosity and with, I want to know, I want to find out something for real. And, we can't.
Does a child normally wear sunglasses? No.
Right.
I just got to bring it back. Sorry.
Right. Take the blinders off, take the blinders off and
take the blinders off, take the light in. It's good for you.
Exactly. So this learning attitude, like P says, it's more rare than gold or diamonds or
the kind of world we live in.
Yeah. Because if it was actually there for real, then a lot of people would be more open and willing to change when presented with things that might be contradictory to how they live their life. But when you actually start to put the pieces together, there's a better way. There's a better way to do things than how the current society and world is functioning. We can take care of ourselves.
And I like the puzzle analogy, like you said. I like this. Like we're all facing a puzzle. We got to put it back together.
Yeah. Right. So
anyway,
it's a thing that we can, each one of us, start to embody. And P says that whole learning attitude can be, you can say it in the statement of, I don't know and I want to know. I want to find out about how to take care of myself, how to evolve, and then those things, you start actually embodying that and saying those kind of things, then multiverse and the energies, the elements, they will hear you and your life will start to change, because if you're speaking that for real, like from a place of authenticity, that's where it begins.
And also, like, you want to hear a crazy story? I'm gonna tell you something. The other day,
Sure.
I pull in the driveway here, and how the synchronicity, and when you start tuning into the proper frequency and stuff, and you can have like even experiences like that will blow your mind. Anyway, I pull in the driveway. There's guys in front putting dirt to put the grass and everything. So there's like a surplus of dirt. I see a big mountain of dirt.
Yeah.
I have a garden. I can use the dirt.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to go see the guys and ask them if they can give me a bucket or two with their tractor.
Right. Right.
Then I'm like, okay, Yannick, that's enough the freaking mooching. Never mind. Don't go ask, just wait and stuff. Not more than 5 minutes after I'm in the garden doing my stuff, the guy shows up. He said, hey, you want some dirt?
Nice.
Blown away. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you're not fucking serious. I said, I was just thinking about you.
Yeah, yeah.
And he dumped a freaking mountain of dirt in the driveway, like at least 4 or 5 buckets of tractor. So, once you start really, and the other day I go for doing some errands with my brother-in-law, I forget my keys in his car, and right at the moment I call him to tell him my keys are in his car, he goes to grab a cigarette. He said, I wanted to go grab a cigarette and your keys were right there and you called me at the same time. Like all these synchronicities, man, that happen is fucking nuts sometimes. So,
wow.
And if you notice them, that thing with the dirt, all cool. Day I was on a freaking high.
Like, that's great. Yeah, yeah.
I'm always on a high. I'm high on life. Not only high on weed, but high on life also. Just to... But no, these kind of things will happen to you. The blessings and the... Anyway, I can tell stories like that all day long. I have a ton of stories of good stuff that happened to me. And, just little things like that. But it made my day. Like,
that's great.
Anyway, good vibes.
I love that. Yeah, yeah.
So we're going to definitely have an N. It was for my beat. And Truman's got the beat to make you rock. So I got to preserve my beat. So anyway, next. Okay, that was my story. Youth, yes or yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll let you go on with the English. Unless you want to add something else.
No, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we can.
Okay, we're good.
Continue.
We're moving on.
Youth, yes or yes. Most on this planet suffer from what can be called Muggle Youth Invincibility Syndrome, YIS. They're always far away from YES, Youth Inquiry Sense. When people reach the age of 16 or 17, they get carried away by a torrent of energy called youth, which they find themselves unable to cope with. It's too intoxicating a drink for them. It makes them heady, proud, non-listening. They all seem to know what to do without having any real knowledge at all. Learning, humility, all seem like bad words. Old age seems like something which only happens to others. Death does not even exist. It seems youth is what they are born for again and again, but cannot really utilize any time.
La jeunesse, youth, yes ou yes. La plupart sur cette planète souffrent de ce qui pourrait être appelé le Youth Invincibility Syndrome, moldu. Yes, syndrome d'invincibilité juvénile. Ils sont toujours très loin de yes, youth, inquiry sense, sens d'investigation juvénile. Quand ils atteignent l'âge de 16-17 ans, ils se font emporter par un torrent d'énergie appelé jeunesse, qu'ils se trouvent incapables de gérer. Un verre très intoxiquant pour eux. Cela les rend entêtants, pas à l'écoute, fiers. Ils semblent tout savoir quoi faire, sans aucune connaissance du tout. Apprentissage d'humilité, tout a l'air de très mal sonner. Vieillir semble être une chose qui arrive seulement aux autres. La mort n'existe même pas. Il semblerait que la jeunesse sait ce qu'ils sont, nés pour être encore et encore, mais ils ne peuvent vraiment pas l'utiliser. Yeah, the youth stage can be something. I remember my younger days. I was freaking rock and roll lost, doing all kinds of bad stuff, being influenced by all kinds of people, doing
Hmm.
all kinds of nonsense. I know it. And I didn't have the right attitude exactly. I was invincible. At 17 years old, I was picked up by an ambulance in front of a bar because I was drunk dead. Drunk
Oh my
dead at
gosh! Right?
17.
Yeah.
Think that's fucking normal? No,
Right.
it's not.
No.
My mother woke me up from the dead sleep because I heard her voice.
Wow. Yeah.
Crazy shit, man. And we think we're invincible. I go in the like in the and today I see that I'm very thankful and fortunate to be alive
Yeah.
because I've done stuff that OMG, I thought I was invincible back then, and that's
Right.
especially with alcohol. You don't think it can kill you, but
Hmm.
it's called the éthylic coma éthylique en français.
Right.
You go into a coma and you might not wake up from that coma. I was very fortunate to wake up. They pumped my stomach and all that shit.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm 17-year-old. So from that day, I never drank again. To me,
Hmm.
that was frightening enough
That's a
to
good.
tell, yeah, tell me alcohol is not for me. I've never been a drinker. Never. I saw my father liking it a lot too, so it wasn't something really inspiring. He wasn't like a drunk, non-functional alcoholic. He was
Right.
functional, but still, like also back in the 70s, 80s, it was like pretty much like today, very much socially accepted the alcohol. So
Yeah.
you go into this and you don't think it can hurt you, but it can create great damage and
Hmm.
also irreversible damage. Like I
Yeah.
saw people die from their their mindset that they're invincible,
Hmm.
but no, you're not. So you self preservation is a must, but
Yeah.
we don't think that when we're young. We're not really also guided that way. Like if
Hmm.
I can say, because the whole of society is going into deep hell, so you just think it's cool to go in deeper hells. So
Right.
you bring yourself into such a descent spiral that it's crazy. But
Hmm.
anyway, yes, I agree with PT. There should be definitely a change of attitude for an inquiry sense, un sens d'investigation juvénile. And at the age of 16, 17, 18, our brain is very fertile, very, yeah, not too much in fear still. Like
Right.
like I remember being like not so much in fear, but as you get older, I think more fear, especially the fear of what people's gonna think of you. That's the biggest fear. That's what stops
Yeah.
most people from opening their mouth or do anything in life that love something out of their divine existence. It's because of fear. So it
Hmm.
holds a lot of people back, and not fear of a big black bear coming down the street. It's not the fear I'm
Right.
talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's very subtle, but it's there. It's
Yeah.
there, and it plays on you. There's stuff in the human body. When you become in fear, real legitimate fear, you will feel it.
Oh
Your
yeah.
hair will rise or something. You will feel
Hmm.
fucked up. So
Yeah.
that same feeling that they want you to have, but very, very subtle. So it's always there, but you
Right.
don't know it. You think it's normal to live like that, to live in fear and this and that.
Right.
So yes, I think when we're young, learning and humility should be part of our life. Every
Mhm.
youth, and imagine the life that the youth would have if from the age of 16 they start learning valuable stuff. And
Yeah.
even that, even if we go to a younger age, if we stop filling the children with garbage and we give them real education,
Hmm.
imagine the world. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So, and we can do that. We can do anything here. We are in charge. So I don't see why it's not another species of human in charge. It's us.
Yeah.
So let's change it. Like,
Right.
let's change all this nonsense. But it
Mm-hmm.
starts with you. It starts with me. You have to be the change. You
Yeah.
cannot expect to see any change out there if you're not part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So put your Gideon boots on and do the work.
Yep.
Boom, I'm out.
Yes, this is just like the stories that you were telling. I also, and I think we can all relate to a certain degree or level of, rebellion or some type of something. There's a lot of um, you know anti-evolution behavior that is encouraged, and that is that the youth are inspired by. I There was definitely lots of um, kind of self-destructive activities or things that we all just thought was, you know, maybe you're a kid and you're just trying to get attention. So you're going to do something stupid, or you're going to do something, you want to impress your friends, or like make a scene and just like get everybody to laugh or whatever it is. And so, as a youth, you might be putting yourself in situations that are either dangerous or, I mean, certainly not centered around well-being. um, so that's what would be really cool. Like you said, if our youth could actually have a foundation that was teaching them like how to live properly, positively, what kind of boundaries to set for themselves, how to eat, how to feed themselves, how to grow food, and like what is this life on earth thing about for real? Not just this money chasing game and all this. I mean, yeah, we have to earn some way to sustain ourselves, and so we might have to get a job and do this or that. But what is the bigger picture? What is the bigger overarching theme? Like what is going to carry us in our life? Can we actually give that and provide that for our youth? Because if we did that, the generations to come will be able to really do some positive things. And the nature connect is a big part. I definitely had some opportunities that changed me and influenced me for the positive, for sure. Like I did one of those kind of youth camping trips where we just went across the country, and we saw a lot of beautiful places, and we camped every single night. And the leaders on that trip were very when we were driving on the road, we would stop every night and watch the sunset, or we would do these different things where we would just go see these beautiful places in nature. And that, I feel like, influenced me for sure to have a deep appreciation or appreciate love, respect for nature and the elements and stuff like that. So if we could do these kind of things, I mean, that's at least one positive thing that is happening to some degree or another, probably at different levels and different places. But just like this thing that P's talking about with Vedic living, Vedic lifestyle, you're going to be eating well, you're going to be connecting with nature, you're going to be working on centering yourself and trying to live in a balanced way. And so those kind of things can provide the answers for what would be the appropriate energy to have, like P's saying, as a youth, to have this youth inquiry sense. Like we want to find out about like what's going to carry us, what's going to help us, what's going to empower us to live a life positively, that we're not going to be making choices that we regret or things that are going to, swirl us into depression or confusion and stuff like that. But a lot of us, have lived this youth invincibility syndrome where we go and we chase after things that are going to mislead us, and we find ourselves in all different forms of inebriation, trying to find out who we are or why we're here and things like that. So hopefully as the world continues to transform itself, this kind of knowledge that he's sharing can reach people in a way that they can hear it and start to implement these kind of things for themselves. Because there is a little bit of, because the world has been so messed up for so long, it sometimes it's hard to trust like anything you hear, and I definitely see that point of view from a youth. Like, I've been learning this and that, and like, you've been lying to me all the time. Who am I supposed to trust? How am I supposed to actually get to something? But like P says, it's like when you learn something and you can see it playing out, and you can actually like connect with your own spirit, and you can actually find the real things, because the equation will actually like come up to the real. So,
but also the lies and deception are so deeply ingrained into this society that
mhm,
it becomes kind of normal. It's the norm for all to live the lie.
exactly.
So you go as a youth and you get in the world. Yes, I was very rebel. I thought I was very rebel when I was young, but it wasn't really a rebellion. It was like a destruction, an auto
Yeah.
destruction of my body. So
Right.
I started to realize that maybe around the age of 40 something,
Hmm.
that really the war was not only on my body, was on my soul, was on
Yeah.
people live in captivity. Their soul is captive, their being is like in the dark, and that's what it is. So
Hmm.
as a youth, if you face the world, you will see there's a lot of nonsense, but the lies and deception are so deep that you don't see it. I was listening to Bob Marley and all kinds of reggae back then that
Hmm.
could have pointed me something, that was pointing me something, but you're too much in la la land and this illusion of the world that what you've learned was true, and the belief. And okay, you look at the church thing, you think it's like nonsense and stuff, but
Right.
then you go get married in church. So that was my case. Like when
Right.
I
Right.
was younger, I was not very church goer. I
Hmm.
knew that there was something weird there,
Right.
but I got married in the church. So you see the nonsense that we easily default to because that's
Yeah.
the norm.
Hmm.
So I've done it. Don't worry. Been through it.
Yeah.
So next, miseducation.
Yes. Miseducation. Education is a big word in this world when none is actually happening. The so-called educators, going under accepted social term, going under the social, going under the accepted social term teachers, know nothing themselves, but have assigned themselves the role to set up curricula, tests, and environments for learning. Under the banner of change and improvement, one encounters jokers who aim to breathe life into this fundamentally faulty and dead system, where instead of evolution, jobs and fitting in is the key. They consider themselves experts on what is good for kids and others in general, without being sure about what is good for themselves. The fact is that in countries like India, where education is the buzzword, it is way more difficult to talk sense with an educated person than with a villager, an uneducated villager. Belief in temples is dying, but the belief in schools, colleges, and universities shows no signs of abating. Education, in its current context, is simply a conveyor belt to churn out slaves for a Borg system. All its grandiose institutions, consuming enormous resources, are no different from waste landfills. This pseudo education doesn't tackle any real issues like life or death. What else is there, anyways?
Exact. Maléducation. Éducation est un grand mot dans ce monde, alors qu'aucune éducation n'est vraiment là. Les soi-disant éducateurs, qui sont sous le terme social accepté d'enseignants, ne savent rien eux-mêmes. même si, mais se sont assignés le rôle de mettre en place des programmes scolaires, des tests et des environnements d'apprentissage sous la bannière du changement et de l'amélioration, ou rencontrent des blagueurs qui visent à respirer la vie dans ce système fondamentalement faux et mort, quand, au lieu de l'évolution, les emplois et l'intégration sont la clé. Ils se considèrent experts à ce qui est bon pour les enfants et les autres en général, sans être sûrs de ce qui est bon pour eux. Le fait est que dans ce pays comme l'Inde, où l'éducation est un buzzword, c'est bien plus dur de parler de manière sensée avec une personne éduquée qu'avec un villageois non éduqué. La croyance au temple est en train de mourir, mais la croyance en l'école, les collèges et les universités ne montrent aucun signe d'abattage. L'éducation, dans son système actuel, est simplement une courroie transporteuse pour produire des esclaves pour un système Borg. Toutes ces institutions grandioses, consommant d'énormes ressources, ne diffèrent pas d'un tas d'ordures. Cette pseudo-éducation ne s'attaque pas à des vrais problèmes comme la vie ou la mort. Qu'y a-t-il d'autre, de toute façon? And sad but true, but yeah, we are very non-educated in anything that really can even save our life. Like they will educate you. You know, they will educate you to kill yourself, but you have to love you. Did you love educate? Did you love or something to love yourself? So to put some good vibes into yourself, because the world will not do that for you. So you have to stand in within yourself and really say, I have enough of all this nonsense, because you can't even talk sense with an educated person too. Yeah. That's true. Forget about that. You will not talk sense with an educated person, but you might talk more sense with a villager that wasn't educated in school.
Right.
And that's true, because it comes in. The school is there to just to put a program within you. I think at this point, we all know that. If you have come far enough on this journey to realize the lies and the deception, well, you know that the schooling system, I'm not saying everything is nonsense, because there's maybe 3,000 hours in there that are valuable to learn how to write and read. Right. But even that, it's within the man-made system, because I don't think a child born in nature will speak words. You know, it will make sounds, or maybe divine up a vocabulary.
Right.
Maybe divine up a vocabulary, yes, I admit. Right. But it will not be the English or French or like. So all these are man-made in order also to divide us more, you know, the more language, countries, and all the division is very important for them to keep. So we keep thinking we're divided when we are one big mass. You want to use the word consciousness, use it, but
yeah.
Definitely there is a pseudo-education happening, and people are pretending that they are teaching something, like the teachers. They're just repeating a curriculum. You're not teaching anything to children. If you think you're teaching something, so then close your curriculum and start teaching them stuff that is valuable.
Yeah.
Like, never mind the government, but if you do that, you will not be in a government school.
No.
So that's it. You will have to open your own school, and nobody will go, because school is mandatory also, which is the other nonsense. Here in Quebec, it's mandatory. I don't know how is it in the States, but it might differ from state to state. But here in Quebec, it's mandatory. The police will come to your house if you don't send your children to school.
Yeah.
So what the heck do you do? So then you tell your children, hey, you're going to go to school and you're going to learn lies and nonsense for 12,000 hours? Like, how do you? So how do you cope with all this also when you know that, you know, you become aware of all this, and then you have to put your children in that conveyor belt of slave making beings, because
Hmm.
honestly that's the purpose, the Borg system. I like it. I like the, because we all become like drone Borg robot going around, and
Yeah.
that's, you know, just to be a good worker. That's what they want you to be. No?
Hmm.
Don't look at the big picture, just look at the small picture. It's enough for you. And you know, that's a bit how we live our life, not knowing that there's something much bigger vibrating out there for us outside of that system and all the man-made nonsense stuff we have on earth. There's a lot of things that make sense, men have made, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of freaking stuff that is, wow, so crazy. And but listen, you have to realize it. No one, I can do it for you. I have realized a lot of stuff. I'm sure I'll realize even more as I get older, but because I have that sense of inquiring on stuff too, I
Hmm.
question things. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's the point of even the word existing if you don't use it. Like, there's a word that's called question in the vocabulary English. Puis en français, c'est le même mot. It's the same word in French. Question. Question. Write the same. It's written the same.
Yeah.
Question. Question. Maybe we should really quest something. You know,
Yeah.
when words are the same in English and French, I really like try to focus on this and find the why exactly. Maybe because it's important. The question.
Hmm. Right.
So, Frank, it's on you.
Yes. Miseducation. That's definitely what's happening in the world today. And it's a place that is difficult, to try to figure out what to do, as a parent and having kids and things like that. Like, what do you do with your children? Because, like you said, the way that the state and the government is set up, you have to have your children in some type of learning situation. Now, you can do homeschool, but then that means, you know, the parent or somebody at home is going to be the teacher, and that's like, a partly
And it
full time.
and it's the same curriculum. It doesn't change. You're gonna
Oh yeah,
teach the same nonsense that they teach in school. This is the
yeah.
same.
So that there's a problem there, and there's a there's a
I think
challenge.
so.
And there are different, private schools that are set up, and some are better than others. There's like some versions of education, like the Waldorf education, and different Montessori schools that and things like that that try to integrate more of a holistic approach to education. Actually, you know, they're trying to work with each being as an individual, and not only just like throwing these tests and these like bigger blanket formats of school at children. But so there are systems that do that, but there's still problems in there, because they're still teaching about all these things that don't even exist, that aren't even real. About space and
Yeah.
what they call planets flying around and all this kind of stuff. So it's that, so inherently there's a challenge and there's a problem with that. And so that's just part of being stuck in the sticky web of the manipulators, who are kind of like fudging up everything so that everyone will stay confused and will stay low in their power and their awareness. um, but I think and I hope that in the coming times, education will actually start to, come back to life, and the flame of real education will start to, be something for everyone. But like peace, he really hits a lot of beautiful points here, that the teachers of today, they don't even know anything themselves. It's just like, you know, if someone is going to be teaching about, you know, for instance, if you're going to school to be a doctor, like how are the people who are educating you about um, being a health professional, how are they actually living themselves? Are they eating fast food? Are they drinking Coca-Cola?
Exactly.
Many of them will be. And so how does that make sense? You know, we want to have people who can practice what is real, you know, and that's one of the great points about the Vedic approach. They have a very holistic and
Yeah, a good
thorough.
example.
Yeah, yeah, you want to be able to live the thing that's going to work out and going to be the truth. But yeah, the Vedic thing has a great um, approach to uh, health, wellness, how to feed yourself, how to adjust your food choices and your lifestyle choices to the environment that you live in and to the season that you're in. Um, the science of the Ayurvedic approach to wellness and things like that. So P has been really kind to share all the things that he's doing in here, because I mean he's not giving us the 100% details of how each of us can live our life, but it's the beginning steps, you know, because he's sharing the Vedic approach to wisdom and to life, and what are we doing here, and how do we maintain ourselves, um, you know, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. How do we live a life of balance so that we're not going to get, you know, drug around the you know the situation called life, you know, where we're yeah, I think
Yeah, I'm thinking of something. You know, the journey, the travel
the
of
journey.
all
Yeah.
this awakening and stuff. It's like climbing the Mount Everest. Okay, and
Yeah.
it's literally that. It's gonna
Mhm.
be a huge climb. You're gonna need to train. You're gonna need to be strong. You might even miss air at one point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's gonna be really that good analogy. It's like the Mount Everest. I think is the biggest mountain on Earth,
Hmm.
and not everyone is successful. A lot of people perish also in the
Yeah.
climb. A lot of
Totally.
people come back down because they can do it.
Hmm.
So it's like you're climbing the Mount Everest. So be ready for a huge climb, the climb of your life.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
the biggest journey of your life, and it probably is going to take you many, many years. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's to even find like where to learn how to climb that mountain. You know, what's the route? You know, because for any climb, there's going to be, you know, multiple different routes that you could take, and sometimes it's only one. So
Yeah, but usually people have done it before you, whatever you want to do. So
yeah.
follow another one's trail, like PT. PT have
Mhm.
made a trail to go up the Mount Everest. Just follow his
Yes,
trail.
he's got the path. The
Boom.
path. So yeah, and he points out so many things that we've kind of touched on in these
PT
conversations.
the PT the Trailblazer.
Trailblazer. That's
That's another
definitely
title you should put it. I am the Trailblazer.
yeah. But this point, like he says, jobs and fitting in is the key. That so they're really they're what the education system is doing is just trying to generate slaves, right, for the system. Because if you have a job, then that means you're working for their system or whatever. For the most part, there's other jobs that it's gonna be less entwined into the evil system, but many will be that. And then fitting in. So if they can control the work that you're doing, and also the way that you kind of mentally set yourselves toward others, because that's how the whole self-policing thing works. You know, they're gonna give you these social standards and boundaries that you're like, oh well, if I'm gonna go here, then that means I don't want to look different in terms of I want to fit in. I want to be able to eat the same food that everybody's going to eat. I want to wear the same clothes that everybody's going to wear. To some degree, there's different styles that each person can kind of feel naturally drawn towards, but there's a way that all of those things are done and to be self-destructive. So the way that you eat, the way that you dress, what kind of materials are you going to be putting on your body, what kind of food are you going to be putting in your body. You can like Mexican food, you can like this and that, but is it going to actually be something that's going to be supporting your biology, something that's going to be supporting your consciousness, that's going to give you actually energy, and it's going to support that inquiry, and it's not going to just put blinders on you and make
I have a clue. Sunlight might help you.
I think that's a good place to start.
Sunlight might help you. Just
right.
saying. Stare at the light a bit. Might affect you.
Go out and get some of
That's
that
it.
summer sunshine, Yeah.
Anyway, Frank, we're going to have to stop there for today. We'll come back with school the next talk, because
yes. Sounds good.
Kim will be here soon, and I have to unpack the car with her. I don't want to let her do this alone.
Yes.
And that's it. And was a pleasure, an honor. Great moment. I'm really in the moment when I do those with you. And I give thanks for life for being here still here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Continuing.
Rocking the boat.
That's right.
It. So, large up, everyone. It's all love. And we will be forward again next Moon Day, as usual.
See you in the next one.
Boom. We're out.